For the third speaker, Bapak Dr. Anis, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately he cannot come here because there is some any invitation, yeah, from Minister of Health, so he cannot come in person, and he will send the video, yeah. Then so that's why maybe there is no QA sessions, but you can ask him by mail or maybe in Elo. Yeah, in Elo there is a discussions, yeah, discussion form, yeah, and you can ask there. Okay, maybe this is Pak Anis. Pak Anis is a researcher and lecturer in population health informatics, and more than 15 years of experience in research and consultancy in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, BPJS, Kesehatan, hospitals, district health offices, and private sectors. And now he working in council, member of the Asia eHealth Information Network, head of the Data and Information Division of the Indonesian Hospital Associations, and co-principal investigator of LPDV-funded regulatory and box for e-malaria project. Okay, maybe we can start to play move.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. First of all, I apologize could not joining the summer course in place due to other activities. So before starting the session, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Anis from the Department of Biostatistics, Epidemiology, and Population Health. The committee invited me to share the idea related to the integration of human, animal, and environment data. If you have any questions after this session, feel free to contact by email. So we start with this slide. We have a patient on the left side, a poultry farm in the middle, and also a river. Seems like these three are not connected one to another. But if we mention about antibiotic for the patient in the hospital or the use of antibiotic in the poultry farm, then we can have a connection between three if there is also residual of antibiotic entering the wastewater system in the river. So this is actually the story behind this integration of environment, animal, and human data related to One Health. The figure here illustrates what happens in the real world. Antimicrobial resistance does not move along a single pathways. It moves through hospital, uh, through farms, and also through wastewater or environment. And it is actually as part of the biggest situation when we call a silent pandemic, because according to the study in Lancet, it mentioned about the huge number of casualties attributed to antimicrobial resistance. Even though they already identified several leading IMR pathogens, the question right now is what will be the action of us as human to counter the potential upcoming pandemic. As we know, for example, the current situation, these casualties due to IMR is even higher compared to other famous disease like HIV or malaria. With regard to preparing for this silent pandemic, the question right now is how we use the existing data from the hospital, farm, and also river, so that we can use this data not only as a part of each problem in this sector, but also as the whole situation, understanding about the antimicrobial resistance. But this is actually the blind spot of human endeavor to counter the AMR. It is a blind spot where the data disconnected one to another, and data is still in the silos located in the different system using different standard. This picture actually give us a better understanding why integrating health data is also among the One Health big challenges. When we come into detail, and then we could see that even, for example, on how to collect the data, there will be issues about, for example, the standard, the workflow of data, and also how to identify from one sector to another. This slide could also be useful for us to understand about the importance of environment as um, the location where resistance evolve and spreads and connecting between human and also animal sector. So that's why I think this is also among the important uh, reasons for the summer course to discuss about integrating data is important in One Health because pathogens don't respect boundaries. And we need also to have this data in the human health, environmental health, and also animal health to be connected one to another. When they are connected one to another, for the case of antimicrobial resistance, we could also understand about the dynamics, about the traveling, the moving, the spreading, and also the persistence of the antibiotic in environment, and also the impact to the human. So based on this slide, we expect that having integrated data could improve us to have a better intelligence, and then having a faster actions to have a better, healthier. This is actually among the biggest challenge in One Health, especially because of like what we mentioned, we still have or we still facing the data silos in each sector, which is not connected to one to another. And this data silos is important for us to monitor the situation in each sector. But if we talk about One Health, it is not only the situation in each sector. It should be connected one to another. And if it is connected one to another, as we move along our journey on the technologies, we expect that all data, when already connected, we can use several technologies, including approach, to understand better, to improve our surveillance system, and then to use several method using machine learning or big data, so that we could have also the mechanism or action to predict the situation and giving early warning to our communities. So, like what we discussed in the previous slide, we expect that integrating health data could improve our action on One Health program by providing early warning, hotspot detection where the location of any outbreak is happening, the prediction trend, and also the pandemic preparedness. Um, so the question right now is, can we move from the isolated surveillance system toward One Health integration and then One Health intelligence? This the next slide of our presentation was actually taken from a previous project. We work together with several partners, including the Ministry of Health, FINE, and IHIN, to study about One Health IMR surveillance and using the HL7 Fire Playbook for Indonesia Satu Sehat program. This slide was actually taken from the Indonesian of at the time, I was the principal investigator for this research involving several researchers from different institutions. At the time, our study was actually uh, trying to develop standard data and interoperability for One Health IMR surveillance. Because of it is also quite complex problem. We start with stakeholder mappings, identifying all stakeholders in the human sectors, animal environment, and conducting landscape analysis to review all the document, regulations, policy documents, and also visiting health facilities in terms of the AMR surveillance practices, and to conduct a gap analysis related to the IMR surveillance data and system, and then develop a data standard for interoperability, and finally recommending the uh, the interoperability for a Satu Sehat platform at the Ministry of Health. In terms of the landscape analysis, like what we mentioned before, we conduct a document review, site visit, and also in-depth interview with several stakeholders, and also doing a mapping of data system. Like what we discussed before, in the real time in Indonesia, we know that in human health, a hospital is collecting IMR data through sentinel and routine surveillance that was developed by certain stakeholders, including our committee for antimicrobial resistance. In the animal sector, there was also information system called ISIGNAS and IV Lab to collect data related to the IMR. And also on the environment, there was also surveillance using wastewater surveillance, but it is not routinely used, no dedicated system, and it is still based on the sampling survey on certain location. This is just a big picture that the data are still silos between these three sectors in One Health. Based on our analysis, we identified several stakeholders related to the antimicrobial resistance and antimicrobial use in Indonesia, and we AMR, it is still limited to only 20 hospital in 2021 and becoming 74 in 2023. As you know, in Indonesia, we have about 3,100 hospitals. And the implementation of One Health IMR, when we call IMR, it is still fragmented. As in Indonesia or the Ministry of Health implemented Satu Sehat and National SIZA system, Sistem Informasi Zoonosis, it is also not well integrated. ISIGNAS already covers antimicrobial use, but it is not yet fully integrated with IMR surveillance. And the implementation of Rencana Aksi Nasional of IMR still faces several challenges. This is part of the landscape analysis. We also identify that Indonesia is also quite dynamic on the policy implementation of IMR. And among the challenges, but also I think opportunities, there are several stakeholders involved in the IMR surveillance. And when we call about One Health, I think it is also related to several ministries as well. And especially in the current presidential cabinet with the new number of ministries. I think these structures is not valid anymore. But I think in terms of the dynamic of the structures and stakeholder collaboration, it is very important for us if we would like to integrate animal, environment, and also human data to understand about the current stakeholders mapping. We also identify from each sector the surveillance system of each. We identify the data source, we identify the software, and we also identify to whom the data collected and disseminated. From each sectors, we identify, for example, in hospital, what data that they collected, in Puskesmas, in the national reference laboratories, and also from the pharmaceutical services. This is in the human health that looks like all data already um, coordinated in terms of the stakeholders, the data source, and also the reporting mechanisms into the national as well as in the global level. We also identify the surveillance system in the animal and environment. But as we mentioned before, the environment sector, we have challenges in terms of the routinity of the data. For animal health, they have also routine data collected. We also identify software for using for conducting this kind of surveillance. For example, on IMR, we identified IV Lab. For antimicrobial use, there is also ISIGNAS, and also the responsible ministries who is managing this kind of regulations, and also to whom the data will or should be submitted to the national level and until to the global level. So based on our understanding, we identify that Indonesia has a strong uh, foundational framework in terms of the policy at the national level. But we need more integrated cross-sectoral approach to implement One Health. In terms of the data, we saw that data is still fragmented, diverse digitalization capacities. It is different from human health, animal, and also environmental health. We also observe the inconsistent data standard. The issue of manual data entry also among the burden by users. We also identified limited real-time reporting, and I think in terms of the reporting system in the human health sector is quite mature compared to other sectors, even though there is still needs something to be improved. And also we identify also opportunities for improving the capacity of human resources. During our project, we identify that there was also a gap between the sectors. We need to implement One Health approach. I think this concept of implementing One Health approach is also useful for other sectors, and we also propose on how to improve the knowledge and capacity of the human resources. And the last one related to the data, we also identify that there are opportunities and good opportunities in health sector as a model on how to developing the standard data that could also be useful for integrating One Health data. So I move forward into these topics on leveraging Satu Sehat and interoperability standard for antimicrobial resistance and use as surveillance. This is the story about this setting. Even though we mentioned that in the health sector, the maturity level is better compared to other sector, but we still observe this situation. In hospital, laboratory staff enter result of lab exams into laboratory information system, and then retype summaries into Excel, and then we have also its own app, and then and later recompile data into web-based reporting to the national level or the Ministry of Health. In primary care, doctors already record antibiotic use on IMR system, but they are still asked to manually fill separate indicators related to the use of rational antibiotic use for respiratory infection and diarrhea. The result of this information being typed again and again, one patient, many entries, it is a sample of inefficient, frustrating, and also potentially risking the quality of services to the patient. So after we conduct this desk review, observing the situation in the health facilities, we identify that there is also opportunities for the health sector to improve our antimicrobial resistance surveillance using standard data, in which the Ministry of Health already adopted several standards, like, for example, the standard for disease classification using ICD-10, a standard for laboratory terminology of Loing, standard for medical nomenclature using Nosormacity, standard of classification drug of KFA, and also the standard for data exchange using FHIR HL7. It is already there, but then unfortunately it is not well or not adopted into the IMR surveillance. So we expect that if the Ministry of Health consistent to use this kind of standard, we could also improve the health facilities that previously using many system, entering different system to just use uh, one data that could also be used to many system. That is what we propose and what we expected. In the context of the health system, for those who do not familiar with the Satu Sehat, Satu Sehat is the national platform for the health data exchange in the health sector. It is a standard that started to be developed during the COVID-19. At the time, we have the application Peduli Lindungi, but then using this HL7 FHIR, it is already developed and disseminated by the Ministry of Health to be uh, by all vendors, so that all vendors, when they develop EMR, electronic medical record, it is expected that they follow the standard from the Ministry of Health. So this standard is expected to ensure interoperability from one system to another, but the implementation is somehow is still limited. When we mention HL7 FHIR, the analogy is like bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language. As you know, in Indonesia we have many tribes. I think there are more than 700 languages and dialect, but we have Indonesian language in which every tribes could speak one to another. It is also like when we talk in English, people from Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia could also use uh, English as part of the uh, communication method between one to another. So HL7 FHIR is also like a standard that allow every system to speak the same language, and then sending data from one to another. In ITSEL 7 FHIR, Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, they also identify several terminologies like the standard of Loing, Sonomicity, etc. So, for example, when there is a prescription of ceftriaxone or result of E. coli resistance, there is also standard in Sonomicity regarding this E. coli resistance, and also the standard of Kamus Farmasi Alat Kesehatan or drug code that is standardized so that it can be followed by one to another. This is just an example of resources from ITSEL 7 FHIR that they mention that there are several resources, including, for example, um, the resources in terms of the terminology, like what we mentioned before, including also standard for security, and also resources, for example, in terms of um, the lab result or the observation. So this kind of standard is already there. But right now is how about to implement and to ensure all health facilities to implement this kind of standard. To implement this, Ministry of Health developed a playbook. Playbook is such kind of a guideline in which this guideline should be adopted or should be followed. For example, in Satu Sehat platform, they develop the playbook or interoperability. It is expected that all system on tuberculosis should follow this Satu Sehat playbook. But we do not have the playbook for antimicrobial resistance. In the Satu Sehat playbook for tuberculosis, it mentioned the detailed standard regarding, for example, the patient registration, anamnesis, physical exam, the classification of TB cases, etc., etc., etc. So when we visited several hospitals during our observation on IMR surveillance, we saw that every hospital still maintaining their own standard. It is not comply to the FHIR ITSEL 7. And also the Ministry of Health do not yet develop this playbook for IMR surveillance. So like what we mentioned before, this playbook of tuberculosis, it mentioned, for example, in terms of the coding system, what coding system that should be followed. For example, in terms of the type of laboratory result, they should follow Loing, Sonomicity, etc., etc. And this is also among the result of our previous study. We propose to adopt the WHO guideline for AMR-MU surveillance in Indonesia. And this paper actually mentioning about our proposed playbook for antimicrobial resistance and antimicrobial use. In this book, we propose about the standard of variables, including, for example, all resources and also all element data that should be provided by every electronic medical record providers and also health facilities that use EMR. So we mentioned about, for example, if there is a request for some sample testing, this samples testing is part of the ITSEL 7 FHIR resources on specimen, and there was also a coding of this kind of specimen, either blood, urine, or other type of specimen. In the playbook, we also develop this kind of workflow on how to implement IMR surveillance following this Satu Sehat playbook framework. And we also propose how the data connected started from the, for example, in several hospitals, they use devices for antimicrobial testing, and then these devices should be connected to the laboratory information system. Laboratory information system should be connected to the EMR, so the staff in the hospital do not entry gain from one system to another. And then it should be connected to the Satu Sehat interoperability layer at the Ministry of Health. And finally, it could also be connected to the dashboard and could also be sent to the national level. So this is what we expect if this scenario is happening. In case there is a case in the hospital when a doctor requests for blood culture test, so in the EMR system, they select this type of specimen, it's blood, and behind the system, it is already comply to this kind of ITSL 7 fire standard. So this ITSL 7 fire standard, we have this data is already standardized. And then if the result is already produced, for example, after the microbiological testing, the result is E. coli. So, I'm sorry. So the test result could also be provided and then comply to the standard. And if the standard is available, the standard will then be submitted to the Satu Sehat. In the Satu Sehat platform, if they comply to the standard, it is also good as well if the global antimicrobial resistance surveillance level from the WHO also comply to this standard. So if they comply to this standard, the burden of data entry will not be happen anymore. This is the nice thing of having this kind of standard. So this is what we propose from our studies after conducting landscape analysis and then observing health facilities, identify the gap, and then what we propose is developing this playbook. And after conducting this study, we already identify the current situation in human, animal, and also environment. And we see that in terms of the standard and terminology, I think the human is quite mature compared to other. We have also this kind of data exchange protocol, and also we have also smallest aggregation level data in terms of the individual, not in the population like in animal. But yes, I think this is also among the concern before we are starting to discuss about integrating data from human health, animal, and also environmental data. So I think we are getting close into our presentation. So after we discuss about this IMR surveillance, we see that this is IMR is a major global health problem, and integrating data is one of the, I think, important endeavor to challenge with these data silos. But to challenge with data silos, we also understood the different maturity level of data system and information system among these three sectors. But then, yes, we agree that forward-looking, it is important to have this kind of interoperability among these three sectors. And in the health sector, it is a good example that we adopted this kind of standard. But by then, I think we need to have this kind of approach on how to integrate between the human health sector, the animal, and environment. Whether the integration will be on the dashboard level or should be down into for example, into the district level, or should be specifically as part of the data for evidence base or action. I think this kind of uh, idea is very important, and also hopefully potential for those who would like to continue the study about integrating data from these three sectors. In the previous slide, we also mentioned about not only integration, but also becoming intelligence. I think this is also among the objective or the vision. We need to continue, not just stop on the collecting data, not just stop on integrating data, but how to use this kind of data. As we move forward for many interesting opportunities for innovating using, for example, big data, AI, etc. I think we need to start first with the foundation. We need to improve the data quality, the completeness, and the timeliness for surveillance data, including in the human, animal, and also environment, and also enhance the surveillance system across the sector. And at the same time, I think we need also to work forward on reducing the fragmentation and also data silos. Our program on enabling the interoperability and integration is also part of the endeavor to have this kind of harmonized and interoperable One Health data across sectors. But among the challenges of our project is that we have already produced this playbook, but it is not yet implemented. It is not yet trained. So I think the next part is we hope that sectors or stakeholders interested to adopt this playbook for training or even implement it, and also um, given the opportunities of AI and several new technologies, I think for those who already improving the data quality, it is also good to start and thinking about adopting this kind of new technologies, like AI, for example. So we hope that um, if we work parallelly, the data quality initiative and also AI and also others, we can move from uh, data collection until integrating and also having intelligence based on our One Health data, and then having a better actions to counter the antimicrobial resistance. And I think the last recommendation from our presentation is that even though our story is mostly about the antimicrobial resistance, the context of integrating data in One Health is also applicable to other contexts. For example, zoonotic diseases, emerging infectious disease, wastewater, food safety, and also the pandemic preparedness and response. I think that's my sharing. I'm very sorry that I could not join you in the summer course, but if you have any question, feel free to contact me. And thank you very much for your participation and listening. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Thank you, Pak Anies. Send virtually. And then if you want to send your questions, you can in Elo, yeah, like I mentioned before, or you can send him email. I think that's very interesting topic, yeah, in integration, yeah, Satu Sehat, yeah, and then we need to integrate our data.